Hey guys, in exactly 1 month from today, we're leaving for our trip. So we just wanted to make a quick video kind of showing the behind the scenes details of all the planning that's been involved in the trip.
So one of the best ways that I found to plan our trip was to download the Road Trippers app on my phone. Pay a small yearly subscription, but you can create as many different trips and as many stops as you want. So with the app, we were able to add each place and it lays out your whole trip on a map. So for our trip, we finally decided on all of our destinations and added to the app to create our trip. Some of the places that we decided on were Magnolia Market, Padre Island, Big Bend, Carlsbad Caverns, Grand Canyon, Joshua Tree, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Redwoods, Lassen Volcanic National Park, Yosemite, Sequoia and Kings Canyon, Death Valley, Moab, Arches, Rocky Mountain National Park, and the Great Sand Dunes. There's a few other small stops in there too, and this list might change, but for the most part, this is the gist of it. Once we had the stops picked out, I laid them all out in a spreadsheet. I listed each place we'd stop at, how long it takes to get to them, the mileage between each stop, the total mileage, and whether the stop had a shower and laundry. I then highlighted the best places to do laundry in red, as well as best places to get oil changes. So one of the things we had to plan specifically for this trip are 2 oil changes since the trip will be about 8,000 miles. So we decided probably the best places would be somewhere in Los Angeles and somewhere in Grand Junction since those will be around the 3 and 6,000 mile mark. Another thing we did in a different spreadsheet was add all the places that we're stopping at and a rough estimate of what time we should leave in order to get to each place. For this, we just use Google Maps. While we were doing this, it was a little tricky since we'd be in 3 different time zones, and Arizona doesn't really do daylight savings, so we had to plan around that as well. Once we got all the stops planned, we had to start planning where we'd sleep and what day we would need to reserve it for. For the campgrounds, we had to go to each of the national parks websites and find their campground options and see if they would even allow reservations. Then we'd go to recreation.gov to actually book them. Most of the sites are only reservable 6 months in advance, and some of them even less than that. Like Yosemite was only 5 months, and I literally had to set an alarm to reserve them the minute that they were released. I was able to reserve one of the sites, but they were gone within 5 minutes. Another thing we do while we were booking the campground was to figure out if they had showers or laundry facilities available. So after we got everything reserved, we started planning what we were going to do at each stop. A lot of these ideas came from the national park books that I had, the national park websites, and by just Googling things to do. During our trip, we're also going to be planning on doing a couple of Jeep trails. And for this, we just looked up the trails basically on Google and just made sure that we got the difficulty of each trail just to make sure they're doable and to get a map of the trail. So during this whole time of planning, we kept receiving emails and notifications saying that parts of our trip were either canceled or changed from COVID. So this made things super difficult for us. So even as this video is being uploaded, there's still some uncertainties, like Big Bend National Park, for example. The park just opened for day use about a week ago, and the campgrounds and trails still haven't opened. Another thing that we have to change because of it is one of the campsites that we had booked in California right on the Pacific Ocean is closed because of COVID as well. So even with everything going on, we still decided to keep planning, and we knew we'd end up cooking a lot for this trip. So we decided to get a new stove and fridge to put our cold food in, which we'll actually be doing a review in a different video. For the food planning, we had to come up with a bunch of different meal ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And to make it easier, we'd come up with a meal such as French toast and then list all the ingredients that we need to buy, like bread, butter, cinnamon, eggs, and sugar. And along with that, we also had to plan where we're going to stop, since we'd have to stop probably about every 5 to 7 days and stock up for about a week. One of the last major things we had to plan was what to pack. This also took a lot of planning because not only are we going to be gone for nearly 6 weeks, but we're going to be in a bunch of different climates. So we'd be on the border of Mexico in early September and in Colorado in mid-October. So not only did we have to plan on bringing a camp fan for those hot nights in September, but a heater and jackets for Colorado. One of the last things we did was plan ahead for making and editing videos. At the beginning of this year, we bought a gimbal and we started recording and making videos of Wilder and the adventures that we've taken him on. So for this trip, we're planning on continuing that, and we'll hopefully be posting a video every couple of days. But to plan ahead, we made things a lot easier on us by downloading different apps to help us edit, as well as songs that wouldn't give us a copyright strike. There's still a bunch of things to do, but everything major is done, and now it's just minor details. We'd love to have you guys follow along with us on our trip, and we'll be posting videos on this channel, Wilder Overland, as well as our Facebook and Instagram accounts.